Hi everyone, today I'll talk about 10 stocks to buy in a correction. Now I'm making this video because I've been looking at a few stocks that I might be buying in a correction, and I thought I'd share that with you today. Now I'm talking about a correction for a couple of reasons why, and a few of the big stories that have come out last week kind of made me think that this stock market could pull back slightly in the August of 2019. So I'm kind of just preparing myself ready for if that correction happened, I'll know which stocks to go buy straight away because I've done the research beforehand. And today I'm sharing that research with you. I'm going to try and keep it pretty short though, so I'm kind of going to do like a speed dating thing and talk about the stocks for like 1 minute and try to sell them to you. And I'll also kind of say like how likely I am to buy that stock exactly myself, because there's a few stocks on this list that I kind of like, but if I'm honest, if there was a few more stocks on sale, it probably would be towards the back of the line, so I'll talk about that as well. Now, when we look at the actual S&P 500 chart, there's not really been a big massive pullback. We had kind of a bit of a 6% dip in May, and that was due to China. But the Fed rates kind of then recovered that really quickly. And then the last dip was kind of towards, the back end of 2018, which the stock market pulled down quite a lot, and that made some big, massive buying opportunities in the stock market. And I was one of those people that kind of I think it was probably the most money I've ever put into the stock market in December 2018. I was just kind of putting loads in, and I was kind of draining my bank account absolutely dry because I was putting just so much money into the stock market because I felt like these were great prices. And to be honest with you, I'd welcome a correction. I'd love a correction, because if we had a correction, it would make so many good buying opportunities into companies, and you just make easy money on them. So I'm kind of rooting for a correction myself, so I am hoping it happens in August. So there's kind of two reasons that might pull the stock market down. And first of all, we've had the Fed cut rates, which I think has kind of been priced in now, and that's why when the actual Fed rates actually came out, we had the stock market go down quite a bit, because it's news that we were all expecting, and then everyone were kind of expecting now to have another Fed rate cut, which I don't think should happen, and I don't even agree with the Fed cutting them interest rates anyway in the first place, because I think that's a bad move, to be honest with you. But that's kind of a different video, so we won't talk about that today. And also we've had the China trade war. Now, because of the Fed rate cuts, the China trade war kind of gets swept under the carpet, and then eventually towards Thursday and Friday, we actually kind of got some news about the China trade war, because obviously it was the end of the meeting, and normally they kind of do that thing where they're like, oh yeah, we were 99% close to a deal, and then it just didn't happen. And it's like, yeah, come on, mate, you said that the last 3 times. It's it's still quite far away. So that kind of didn't come out because of the Fed rate, and then eventually it finally did come out. And obviously we're not going to have any more negotiations now to September, so there could be potential to September to have a bit of a trade war spat going on, which would pull the stock market down as well. So that could potentially pull it down, because that's what pulled it down back in last year, 2018, and towards May time. So I think that China trade war news itself, that could bring the stock market down 10% from now, because I think we had a deal kind of priced in. So that I feel like that in August could pull the stock market down a little bit as well. Another thing to take into consideration as well is that August is generally not a great month as well for the stock market. And I talked about this on the channel previously, is that from these kind of prices where we have these kind of gains, normally the stock market does close lower from these gains and doesn't go higher. So history is kind of saying that we are going to, for the next kind of few months, and August is going to be negative as well. So that's something to take into consideration when you invest into stocks. Obviously that's just history, and things can change, but it's good to know what kind of the stock market generally does do, so you kind of get that little edge on planning going forward what is going to happen in the stock market. So number 1 is Microsoft, and I love this company because of growth and the dividend. A great brand, so many sectors that are growing. But when we look at the chart, there's hardly ever any pullbacks in Microsoft, and it just when China trade news comes out, this stock just doesn't go down. And obviously it's my number 1 position, so I love a little bit of a pullback in this stock. So we'll see what happens. But if Microsoft was to have a pullback, it would be one of my number 1 positions to go and invest in. Number 2 is Visa, and once again, never pulls back. China trade war never pulls back on that news. So if we were to see a pullback in this stock, it's one of those other stocks that I'd love to go buy as well. Number 3 is Facebook, which just produced some really good earnings. And after the earnings, the stock hardly went up, and that's probably because of the good run that it's been on. But we are seeing the stock pull back slightly now. And if the stock market was to pull back, you know, 10% over this next 4 weeks, then this stock could also pull back another 10% as well, which would add a great opportunity to get into Facebook or to add your position into Facebook, which I obviously have a position in Facebook and I'd love to add more shares into it. PayPal is a stock that has had a bit of a bad kind of few weeks, bad earnings as well. And also it's a stock that I feel has been overvalued for some time. It's a stock that I've kind of owned. And I sold my position in PayPal. I think I invested in PayPal at $80, and then I think I sold out at 105-ish, I think it was. Obviously that's a company that I owned at some point, and I sold out because I thought that it was overvalued then. And it's kind of gone up a little bit more, and then it's had the bad earnings and it's pulled back. It's a stock I'd love to see go down to $90, and then I could invest in it at that price. But if it does or doesn't, I'm not sure. I don't know if it would drop to that price, but it's something. Boeing is a company that's obviously been in the news quite a bit, and it's had a lot of problems. And obviously it relies on China quite a bit. And I think China are trying to target Boeing slightly as well in these China trade wars. But I'm surprised how Boeing has done so well. Obviously it's pulled back a little bit now. In the long term, Boeing's a safe company, but with the amount of orders they're starting to get cancelled by companies, you would feel like Boeing should be down a lot more, because that's really starting to affect the brand and long-term kind of image of Boeing. So even though it was all short-term problems, they are starting to turn into long-term problems for Boeing. And I believe that stock should have been hit a lot harder now. Like, I'm really surprised it's managed to hold on to that $330 range. Like, for me, I feel like that stock should have gone below $300, so I'm amazed how it's doing so well. FedEx just keeps kind of like going down. It's kind of getting towards testing them 52-week lows. We all know there's problems with FedEx, and it's getting hurt a little bit right now. But in the long term, with e-commerce and everything, FedEx is, a great company that is kind of showing at a discount. So it's a company that I'm watching right now, and I'll see what happens with FedEx. Nvidia is a company that kind of keeps popping up and then pulling back quite a bit. It's a great company with a good future. When we look at the potential for Nvidia in future, it's obviously had a rough year, and that's all obviously to do with margins and prices and guidance cuts, and it could be pushing new lows. But every time Nvidia gets towards that $150 range, and with the potential that it has in the future, I'm kind of looking at it going, it's a great company to buy at these prices. So that's one that I'm definitely watching right now, because I don't have any chip makers in my portfolio. Number 8 is a line technology stock, which is a video that I've just made about because I bought that company itself, and it's the newest position that I've added. But potential with China trade war and everything, this stock could go down a little bit more than what it is now, and it is at a key support right now. So if that stock was to go down a little bit more, then potentially I could add into that. We'll see what happens. Wynn Resorts, which has just opened its new Boston resort, and I think it brought out decent earnings as well. Obviously, it's a company that's been in a bit of a transition phase over the last kind of year, 2 years with the management side of it, as we know what happened with Wynn Resorts and its CEO. But it was a stock back in 2018, which I said that I would buy. Very much like Disney, I said I would buy it in 2019. And both with Wynn and Disney, I did not buy either. I don't have a position in them yet. So it's a company that I'd love to buy and add into my portfolio, another leisure company. So we'll see what happens with that kind of thing. But I think that Boston resort is awesome, and obviously it relies on China income quite a bit. But going forward over the next 3-4 years, I reckon that Boston resort will pay off for Wynn. So we'll see what happens with that one. And number 10 is a company called NetApp, which just went down 20% because of bad earnings. And it's this company that I'm actually going to make probably a full video on at some point over the weekend, and then talk about if that's a good opportunity to buy that stock, because it does seem like it has some okay growth and with a decent dividend as well. So I'm going to probably do a full video on NetApp and talk about them bad earnings, but it could be a stock that kind of goes on a downtrend from here, so it could be one to watch over the next kind of few weeks. So guys, if we do get that correction in August, which I think is about 50% likely that we could, I gave you 10 companies there that I'm currently watching and a few reasons why. like I say, there's a few companies that I'm, obviously like Visa and Microsoft, probably Facebook, are definitely companies that I'm really watching really closely. Depending on how much the companies do go down, we'll see what happens and I might buy then. But, if the stock market was to go down quite a bit in August, which I think it will do, I feel like it will go down towards 5 to 10%. Those are companies that I am looking at buying at some point. And if I do buy them, obviously I'll make a video about it. I'll tell you the entry points that I got in at and when I bought that stock. And I'll try update you if I do buy any stocks in the month of August. But like I say, I am kind of waiting to see if the stock market pulls back to buy them stocks, which I do hope that happens because I do like getting stocks on the cheap. So guys, that's me talking about the 10 stocks I might buy in a correction if it happens in August. I hope it helped you if you're looking to buy some stocks. If you could give the video a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.